This video's been a long time coming. What's up, yo? So I got a Tackle Warehouse unboxing that I'm gonna do for you on video. If you've been following my stuff for the past year or so, I've actually been doing these for a long time now, only in story form on Instagram and on Facebook. So if you been checking out those, I normally go over the stuff that I bought and why and where I'm gonna use it and all that kind of stuff like that. So I figured that I'd do it in video format to make it a little bit easier, make it go by a little bit faster. We got a lot of stuff to go over. I don't really ever make small purchases whenever I buy stuff from Tackle Warehouse. If you look at this stuff recently, or if you've been paying attention, you know that I've spent a couple $100s on this stuff every time. So we got a few things to go over for mostly summertime stuff is what I based all this stuff off of this time. So it's going to be a lot of typical summertime stuff, but I think it'll be pretty interesting for you to be able to see it. I'm going to try to keep it in under 10 minutes, under 10, 12 minutes. We're going to see where we're at with that, but there we go. We got a lot of stuff to go over in here. A lot of stuff. Alright, we got so much stuff in this box, we're just going to fly through it pretty quick. Alright, first thing, War Eagle wake bait, spinnerbait. 2 giant Colorado blades on there. This is going to keep it up on top. It makes it easier to ride up near the surface. It just leaves a big bulge on the surface. So this is going to be something that I use early in the morning, maybe over the tops of grass, maybe alongside docks and things like that, where you can get some fish to come up and hit on top water. Maybe if I see some just schooling, this would be another good bet. I'd also throw it around laydowns and stuff in the rivers. So if you go river fishing, that's a good thing to throw around laydowns. I've got a pack of Moto Senkos. This is the 6-inch size in green pumpkin purple copper. That's a really good color. Normally for clear water. Now when the bite gets really tough and the fish don't really want to bite, you know, everybody picks up the Senko. I got the 6-inch though because it gives you a little bit more big fish potential. When you use the 5-inch, that's just when you want to get bit, period. But when you go with the 6-inch, you typically get a little bit bigger bite. Next thing, Chatterbait Cfl. This is going to be a alternative to throwing a deep diving crankbait or a wobble head jig for me. This is also an alternative to a football head jig. But what's special about this is that it has a football head design, but it's got that painted chatterbait blade on it. This is going to be something that I can throw out and let it sink all the way down to the bottom. And I can reel it back across the bottom, and it's sort of like a different take on a deep diving crankbait and a wobble head jig at the same time. The blade actually makes contact with this head and it makes it sort of a clicking sound, so it has a little bit of an acoustic sound to it. Also makes it a little bit of a rattle almost, so that's a good fish attractor when I'm fishing pretty dirty water, normally over a rock. These I just got because they were on sale. The Berkley Maxim Powerbait Maxim series, everybody knows about these. They're just really effective. Something about Berkley and scented plastics. I don't know what it is, but Powerbait and Maxim and Gulp is just fish crack. I don't know what it is that they put in that stuff. You probably have a better chance of figuring out the Coca-Cola formula, but this stuff is very special. I don't know what it is, but the fish eat it. I mean, it's almost like live bait. It's almost like cheating when you put Maxim and Gulp on a hook. This particular shape, though, I don't really fish chunks very much in the summertime. I just got it because it was on sale. Those I'm probably not going to use until the winter time, or at least the first couple cold fronts come fall. That's when I start to break out my chunk trailers. Here I've got the Lunker City Beefus jig. These are just cheap, affordable jigs that are pretty decent for the price that they charge for them. They're about $3, $4, something like that. You know, they're not incredibly high quality, but it's something that I can pitch and flip and do a little bit of everything with without having to worry about breaking off one of those high dollar $7 or $8 tungsten jigs. You know, when I'm just doing some fun fishing, I'll go pick these up. Here I've got some all-purpose jigs. These are made by Greenfish Tackle. This is the Brandon Cobb series. These are a lot higher quality. They have a wire-wrapped skirt. They've also got some pretty decent skirting material on there. I don't have to worry about strands being stuck together and stuff like that out of the package. They're actually pretty decent. The heads on them are actually very nice too. This is another all-purpose kind of jig. You know, it does multiple different things at the same time. The drawback to fishing a jig like this is that they do a bunch of different things okay, but they don't do any one thing very well. So I can skip it, I can pitch it, I can flip it, I can drag it across the bottom, fish it like a football jig, I can swim it, I can do all that kind of stuff. And it'll do all that kind of stuff okay, it just doesn't do any one thing super well. That's the problem with these. But you know, it's just a good all-purpose jig to have on if you don't know exactly what it is you're going to be doing. Now here, I've got a Booyah Moon Talker. This is the heaviest size in 3/4 ounce. I got this because I'm going to be using it for night fishing, slow rolling it across the bottom, but also using it in really dirty water. But since I'm a bank fisherman, I like the 3/4 ounce size because it'll stay down a little bit better. And I can make longer casts with it. Black and chartreuse, because black is the best color to use at night. That silhouette against the moonlight makes it stand out really well. This is the Strike King Finesse series spinnerbait. This is actually one of my favorite jig colors. I got it in a spinnerbait. I thought it'd be nice to try out. This comes with a gold and a copper blade on it. Very good for stained water. That one I'm going to be using over the tops of grass for largemouth and across shallow flats. This is the same spinnerbait, just in Morning Dawn. Morning Dawn is one of my favorite colors, so, you know, I saw a Morning Dawn spinnerbait and I was like, yes, please. This, I can pretty much guarantee you with absolute certainty, you're going to catch some giant smallmouth bass and some giant spotted bass with this color. This, I'm going to throw more around like rock, and I'm going to fish it around docks and things like that. Looking for those spotted bass in clear water reservoirs. Not to say that it wouldn't work on largemouth, because they like pink too. It's just, I got that specifically for spotted bass in mind. Here I've got a Spro Little John DD70. This is one of my favorite deep diving crankbaits. I got this one in the black and blue. It's supposed to be a night fishing color, but I got this actually for the exact opposite. I have a theory. I'm going to use it in super clear water reservoirs. I think that there's something about this color that'll give them a great silhouette really deep down. So if I throw this over 20 feet of water on a bright sunny day, I think that that might still get bit. Maybe even better than some of the other stuff they're used to seeing, like shad patterns and clear baits. All right, we've got the Norman DD22. Here I've got it in a shad pattern, and I've got it also in a chartreuse and blue. This is a classic deep diving crankbait. This is something that you have to have. Everybody uses them. I really like these as a deep diving crankbait because they're affordable. I'll buy a lot of deep diving crankbaits that cost $15, $20, something like that. And it really sucks to break one of those off, man. So using a DD22 that costs like $5 or $6, it doesn't really hurt you as much. Although they don't get down as deep, they definitely do not get down to 22 feet. They will get you, in my experience, they'll get down to about 16, 17 feet max on 10-pound tests, but normally they'll run you about 15 on a 12-pound. Which is what I prefer to use for deep cranking. Alright, I got Jackal Rhythm Wave swim baits. This is in Sexy Shad, and I got it in also Green Pumpkin. This is both the 3.8 size. These are actually very nice for trailers and are very nice on the back of a Alabama rig. So I got these for the time being to be used on the back of a swim jig and on the back of just a regular swim bait head by themselves as a standalone swim bait. But the ones that I don't use, I'll eventually end up putting on a Alabama rig. But what I got to pair with them is the Evergreen Grass Ripper. This is probably the best swim jig going. They actually have the same trailer keeper on them that come on the Evergreen and Z-Man Jackhammer Chatterbait. So it has a great trailer keeper, fantastic hook, great weed guards, just great head design. It's kind of triangular shaped actually. Comes through grass like a dream. Very high quality. Great grass jig. I got a 3/8 ounce size and half ounce size. A half ounce for fishing a little bit deeper grass, and a 3/8 ounce just for keeping right over the top of it. Of course, I got the bluegill and the shad pattern. You really only need panfish colors and shad colors whenever you're throwing a swim jig. Sometimes you can throw in a black and blue. I'll mess with that sometimes too, or a June bug, but normally I stay with baitfish colors. Okay, here we've got the Missile Destroyer. These are a great creature bait. They're kind of a slept on creature bait actually. Everybody wants to go to a brush hog, but These I like to use for pitching, flipping, Carolina rigs. You can punch with them. All kinds of different stuff they do very well. Next, Strike King 6 XDs. Sunrise Sexy Shad and Sexy Blueback Herring. The 6XD is a classic, at this point, classic deep diving crankbait. You gotta have them, man. They just win so much money in tournaments and stuff with those baits. You just gotta have them. And plus, they're not crazy expensive either, and they still get down to a pretty respectable depth. So, you know, I don't like the hooks that come on them stock, but, you know, it's not an incredible hard thing to do to replace the hooks on those. All right, I got some tungsten worm weights. This is I believe I got 1/4 ounce, didn't I? Yeah, I got the 1/4 ounce size. I got these because I got some ideas on mine with swimming things through grass, different soft plastics, probably speed worms and craws, stuff like that. I got some Finesse Fluorocarbon leader. This stuff is freaking excellent. Excellent Fluorocarbon Finesse leader. This Spro stuff that I just started using in the last year, maybe year and a half. I remember when it first came out. I bought it when it first came out, and I had not looked back. It's very, very good. I've been using some other different fluorocarbon leaders before I picked those up. And to be honest with you, the quality was not that bad, but they just don't perform as well as that does for the money. Plus, you get more of this per spool than you do when you buy those other brands. You get 54 yards of this versus, say, 20 or 25 yards of the competition. I got another all-purpose jig. This one, kind of almost a peanut butter jelly on the bottom and a green pumpkin on the top. You know, just a little something different. I think that's still a pretty good color to use. I got the Picasso Heavy Cover Circuit Shaker Pro. This is a pretty expensive chatterbait, something like, I don't know, $17, something like that. It's sort of comparable to the Z-Man Evergreen Chatterbait, the jackhammer, but this one is a little bit different take on it. Those are pretty much the only two brands of chatterbaits that I'll use, are the Z-Man variety and the Picasso ones. That one I got just to try out. I don't have any experience with it yet, so I'll come up with a lure review for it whenever I get a few fish on it and I get a chance to use it. Got a couple hooks, the Owner Cutting Point oversized worm hooks for oversized baits, obviously. You want to use a 12-inch or 13-inch worm. I'm going to go with this. The point on that is incredibly sticky sharp, incredibly pointy. The only thing I don't like about these is that the points roll over on them a little bit with use. So it's good for, let's say, 10, 12 fish, then you have to sharpen it or replace it. But they're probably the sharpest hooks I've ever used. So I don't regret buying those at all. The Owner Twist Locks. These I use for weightless Texas rigs mainly. The screw lock up here in the front with the centering pin really helps to keep your baits from blowing out. It keeps the heads and the noses of worms and soft jerk baits and stuff like that from getting all tore up. The hook itself is actually very high quality too, and it's a medium wire, so it doesn't flex on you. It's not going to bend out on a big fish, and it's also not too stiff to where you have to hammer the hook home extra hard. We got a speed wake. This is a really cool topwater bait. I got this specifically with spotted bass in mind on a Highland Reservoir where they're chasing herring and stuff a lot. So this is something I'm going to use mostly in clear water. That explains my color choice too. Although I don't doubt that you could probably buy that in a bluegill pattern and fish that over a shallow flat for largemouth. I'm pretty sure that would still work, especially around the bluegill spawn. This is a Z-Man cross-size chatterbait in 3/4 ounce size. Fishing it around deep grass is my idea. I'm going to pair it up probably with a Zoom Z-Craw trailer. That's what I'm thinking. I got green pumpkin because that color I can manipulate to look like basically any panfish I want it to. It can look like a crappie or a pumpkin seed, a bluegill, any of that different stuff. Okay, I got some big bite baits, jig heads, very nice quality hook on there, great trailer keeper on there. These I could use as standalone swim bait hooks. I could also use them on a umbrella rig, or I could also use them for all kinds of other stuff, really. These are actually very, very good for the money. Big Bite Baits as a brand, they make things very, very affordable, but they're still very good. That's what I like about that brand in particular. They don't price you out the game too bad. but stuff, and their stuff is still quality. Even though it's cheap, it doesn't fish cheap. Finn's Windtamer Pitch Black Braid. This stuff I buy over Power Pro and over Suffix 832 and all that other stuff, because for whatever reason, those braids, even though they cost $30 or $40 a spool, they bleed and they start to unravel on you, and they have issues and stuff like that later on down the line. But this stuff, for like 15, 16, 17 bucks, it actually outperforms that other stuff at a much lower price range. So that's what I like about this. Plus, it comes in that pitch black color, which is very helpful. You know, a lot of guys like to buy braided line and they color it with Sharpies so that the fish can't see it so well. This just goes black out of the package and it doesn't fade. So this is really, really good stuff. I've been using the same spool on one of my spinning reels for 6 months, something like that now. It never faded on me. Still just as black as the day I bought it. Now, Windtamer, I picked this up from... I had a conversation with Blair Wiggins, Captain Blair Wiggins from Addictive Fishing, the TV show. He always used Windtamer on the show, and it's actually very good. It doesn't give you wind knots, it doesn't tangle, it doesn't twist, it doesn't give me any issues at all, so that's why I use that. This stuff, Yosuri T7 Premium Fluorocarbon line, this stuff is excellent. I bought my first spool of it a couple months ago. Let's say about early May, something like that. And I've been fishing with it, and I have never felt such a good fluorocarbon at under $20. The best fluorocarbon that I fished is actually P-Line Tactical, which is like $30, $35 a spool. But that stuff I use for heavy cover flipping and pigeon and stuff like that. This stuff for crankbait fishing is about the best I've ever used. I probably would also get another spool of this and use it for chatterbaits and spinnerbaits and other kind of stuff like that. I actually kind of prefer this over Sunline FC Sniper is what I had on before. I took that off and started using this instead. I actually like this a lot better. Okay, last two things. I got a buff. If you've seen the 4th of July sale on Tackle Warehouse, if you're part of the email list, you know that everything was on sale, but the buffs, the face mask and the neck gaiters and all that kind of stuff were on sale for super, super cheap. Like $30 and $35 gaiters were on sale for like $3, $5. So I got a bunch of these. This I got just so I don't bake in the sun. Nothing very interesting there. Of course, you get the free t-shirts when you order a certain amount of stuff. On Tackle Warehouse, you order at least $150 worth of stuff, you get free t-shirt. Last thing I got is an Okuma ITX carbon fiber spinning reel. So this I got to pair with a Ducket Black Ice 7'2" medium spinning rod. Now I know why some people are probably sitting at home like, well, why Okuma? The reason why is because I've had more expensive reels on me fail. Shimano reels have failed on me, Daiwa reels have failed on me, as far as like the drag slipping and the drag going bad, bearings going bad over time, stuff like that. And those reels are $200 and $300 that I buy. But the Okuma reels for $100, $150 or less actually have outperformed Shimano and some of the other higher end reels that I use as far as my spinning reels go. I probably wouldn't say that with bait casters, but with spinning reels, absolutely. They're actually pretty sweet looking. I don't know why it looks ashy on the camera. It's just sort of like a weird, almost kind of like a weird, almost granite looking finish. But the drag is always very smooth on these. They last forever. I have an Okuma Inspira 30 size reel for my drop shot rod, and that reel is going on year 3. It's been flawless. I've never had any issues with it. It's caught everything from 5-pound spots and 6-pound largemouth. I've caught stripers on it on Ned rigs. I've caught giant flatheads with it, flathead catfish on drop shots and stuff with it. It's been crazy, and it's never had an issue. I've never had to take it apart or do anything with it. So that's why I decided to pick up another one of Okuma's spinning reels. They're just really, really, really great quality for the price. So that's the first unboxing video for this channel. There's going to be a whole lot of gear reviews and stuff like that going on later on down the line, and a whole bunch of cool subjects and things like that I'm going to be covering. I had to do something to fill up some
gaps in the channel and start to build up some build up a library of different types of things that you can go to all over the channel. You know, gear reviews, unboxings, all different kind of stuff that I'm planning on doing. I had to put together something. I felt like I have some fishing footage and stuff like that, and it just didn't really come out right. You'll hear more about that tomorrow when I get around to explaining what happened on the Florida trip and stuff like that when I went down for my birthday. There was some tarpon footage, there was some peacock bass footage, which was all kind of crazy stuff. We'll get to that later. But see you guys in the next one.